Hey, it's Kevin Lawton with the New Warehouse Podcast, bringing you a new episode today. And on today's episode, I am going to be joined by Gili Ovadia, and he is the VP of Business Development at BionicHive. And BionicHive has a really interesting robotic solution. It climbs all over the warehouse, basically, is the easiest way to describe it. But we're going to dig a little more into it and find out, where this idea came from, how it works, how it's getting so much attention with an investment from Amazon, recent pilot with Maersk, and really kind of dig into this solution and how it's really a different approach to than a lot of the other robotic solutions that are out there right now. So Giddy, welcome to the show. How are you?
Very good. Thank you for having me.
Definitely happy to get you on. I think I've been trying to get you guys on to talk about this for a little while now. So definitely excited to dig into this. And obviously, I've seen Bionic Hive and the solution on LinkedIn a couple times, videos. It's very interesting, very intriguing to see it. So I guess tell us a little bit for people that maybe are not familiar from your perspective. Give us a brief overview of Bionic Hive and what is your solution all about.
Perfect. Sure. So, yeah, Bionic Hive was established 2016 with the idea of providing a very flexible solution to warehouses. It founded by a couple of folks with a multidisciplinary technology background, not people from the operational or logistic background, that new technology had a lot of really interesting, diverse background, but but they didn't have any background within the logistics area. So they came up with the concept that is basically a mobile autonomous robot that could move in three-dimensional
Mm,
vertical or vectors throughout the warehouse. It could reach any point in the warehouse, on the floor, on the racking shelf, and could pick or put away packages and take it from anywhere to anywhere. It could be from the track directly to the warehouse, to the
mm,
racking shelf, or from the racking shelf to the shipping area or to the picking model. And so on, and yeah, designed to work alongside human being. It doesn't need to be isolated or separated, and it's very flexible. You can add robots, remove robots based on the seasonality of your business, and
mm.
yeah, that's the in I don't know 30 seconds or so. That's the gist of the solution.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's very interesting, and when you say it can go wherever, I mean literally will. I mean, it's almost like a spider, I guess, in a sense, right? Like it
That's
just
a
kind of
very common analysis.
yeah.
That's we call it, by the way, the squid, which is
The squid, yes, yeah.
that's the name of the product. We have one product,
Hmm.
and like other companies in the industry, we imitate that thing of naming our product, but that's the only thing we imitate. Other than that, everything is very original and unique.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, and it'll kind of just climb up the rack and the shelves, and climb up vertically, and then go across horizontally to get to, I guess, where it needs to be. So I mean, I'm curious because you said you mentioned they're having a 3D solution, right? And a lot of the 3D solutions we see are typically involving like an ASRS system or some type of shuttles to be able to do that, or pretty large, like AMRs that maybe are like automated reach trucks or things like that. But this is very pretty small solution. It seems kind of simple in its sense, and the idea to climb up the rack like that and climb up the shelving like that. I mean, I'm curious, like where did that initial idea come from to do the climbing like that? Because I think that's certainly one of the like most unique things that stands out about this solution.
Yeah, so I think the original idea came from it's an Israeli company, and the
Mm,
founder were they all had some background in the defense industry, and
mm,
that was the that's there where they took the inspiration basically.
mm,
Some of the founder came from the Iron Dome, and the other one had something that involved to developing mobile wheel that could turn into
mm,
different devices. So it was a kind of a really nice stew that mixed into this solution.
mm. It's interesting, yeah, because it is like very unique in the way that it is designed and what it can do, and how it moves about your warehouse, I think is really interesting. So, I mean, when we look at some other robotic solutions, automation solutions that are, also retrieving packages, and I mentioned a couple in there, like an ASRS system. But tell us a little bit about how the Squid provides more flexibility than some of the solutions that we've seen on the market already.
Definitely. So the ASRS that you mentioned, they are really good with the all elevation aspect. They could
Mm,
reach to the top of the racking shelf, and and they could provide a really high throughput. But they are really limited in terms of if they need to go and take the package to other location in the warehouse. And on
mm,
the other end, if you think about the AMR or other solution that you also mentioned, they're great in taking the package from one point to other point within the warehouse, but they're really limited
mm,
with the elevation aspect. We basically combine these two, and we can take it. We have the elevation aspect, but we also have the mobilization aspect, and we can take it anywhere. We could go, as I mentioned before, we could take it to the pallet, we can take it to the picking model, we can take it to the truck, and that's how we basically combine these two uh, concept, and that
mm,
brings us to the. I think if I need to summarize it to one word, it's the flexibility, and that
mm,
goes along with the multiple use cases that we support. We can help with replenishment, just keep feeding packages from the top shelves to the AMR or AGVs of the world, uh, but we can also help with use case of return when you have
mm,
one package that you need to take from the truck and put it back. Obviously, pick and put away. That's I think the obvious one.
mhm,
But yeah, we could work with any type, almost any kind of use case. Not to mention thing that we could do as a byproduct. Just
mm,
imagine the robot is going from point A to point B, and in the way you have to go through. You mentioned that it drive horizontally, so you basically provide a cycle count and inventory management as it goes, because
oh, really?
it sees the packages anyway. So in the end of the day, it sends the warehouse management report. Hey, this is well all of your packages. This is what you need for tomorrow, and in the way back, it doesn't just go back empty. So you take the package
Mm.
and prepare it for tomorrow. So a lot of things that could be done along the way.
Interesting, interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty interesting that's taking advantage of that travel time as well to capture data. So it's giving you kind of that value all along the way. I mean, no matter what
Exactly.
it's doing, like it's doing something of value for you, which I
Yeah.
think is really really interesting. So now, I mean, how does this look if you have these in the warehouse, and you said that it's built to work around people? How does that look? Because they also go along the floor, correct? Right. So I mean, how does is it aware of the people that are around, and how are people aware of it? I mean, how do you kind of coexist with these squids, climbing all over the place in your warehouse?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Let me go maybe one step backward.
Sure.
And if we look at the last 10 years, the main motivation or the main incentive of the all warehouse automation is try to reduce the labor cost.
Mm,
And if you see the graph of the last 10 years, you see that I think it triple multiplied by 13 times, from I think 4 billion to around 20 billion dollar if you
mm,
aggregate the entire warehouse solution investment that were made in the last decade. So you'd expect that will flatten at least flatten the curve of a labor cost, or hopefully
mm,
will actually make it decline. But you actually see the opposite. If you multiply the wages of labor cost in warehouses, you see that it's a crazy spike again in the last decade. And so you basically understand that all of this money that were invested by the top VCs of the world trying to reduce labor costs doesn't solve the problem. And we ask ourselves why. Why? Because the flexibility and the agility of these warehouses
mm,
uh, is not catch up with the pace that these warehouses are built. And you see 80% of the warehouses, and you probably know this number better than me, in the US are built for human beings. And only
mm.
20% of
Right.
them are automated. And that's our target market. We try to aim for these 80% of the warehouse market, the one that work with labor, the one that relied on human being, and we know we can replace them. We know that if you ask us who is our main competitor, it's
Mm,
the human being, it's the labor cost, and we know we won't be able to replace all of them. But for a shift of 5 people, we know we can reduce 4 of them, meaning reduction of 80% out of the entire workforce. And we designed to work alongside human being. If you look in our videos and in our pilots, we don't separate, we don't isolate our robot. The robot is designed to work and to coexist, using your words, human beings.
mhm,
And it equipped with fusions of sensors. And we basically follow the HRC, I think it's HRC, the human robot protocol that basically allow us to, if it's a human being, he know to slow down or to stop.
mhm,
If it sees an object like a pallet, he knows to bypass uh, the pallet or the obstacle. So it's equipped with an obstacle avoidance concept, and it's basically technology of lidar in the robot
mm,
that allow it to know where it's at, what it sees, and how it could overcome it.
mm. Very interesting. Yeah, yeah, I can only imagine it. And I think it's so great too. Like you mentioned, I mean, the warehouses, were originally built to be human focused, and so it's great that you guys have taken your solution and thought about that and say, how do we address this other side of the market where it is like centered around humans and be able to bring in a solution that's not gonna totally mean you have to change your infrastructure completely or go to a brand new building to be able to figure that out or something of that nature. I think it's like very very smart. so
Yeah,
so
and
i, I mean
I
it's
could
really interesting. Yeah.
address that point. Another benefits or added value that we bring to the table is that we don't ask when we talk to a warehouse manager or operation
Mhm.
executive. He asks us, "Okay, what's your operation? What's your material
Yeah.
flow?" And we said, you don't need to change anything. We will adapt to your material flow, and that's another great thing. You don't need. There's no downtime. There's no adaptation you need to do. There's no change you need to do. We will just
Mm,
adapt to your material flow, and we just automate it, and we
mm.
retrofit your entire warehouse.
Very interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense, and I'm sure that makes a lot of people happier too. That they don't have to adapt to you; you adapt to them.
Yeah.
I'm sure people like that. So, and recently, you guys received an investment from Amazon. So obviously, big player in the warehousing space, if not the biggest, right? So it was great to see that you guys were able to get that investment. But I'm curious, what does that mean for your company, and now that you're getting to a point where it seems like you're ready to bring this to the market more?
Yeah, so we were very lucky, as you mentioned, to be one of the first
Yeah.
investment by the industrial innovation fund. It's a fund of 1.3, I believe, million dollars. And up until now, if I'm not mistaken, they made about seven investments. We were among the very first. We got this investment last year. And yeah, that's obviously great signal to the market, give us a lot of um, runtime, and but I think the more interesting thing, which I'm unfortunately cannot talk a lot
Mm,
about, it's the operational aspect of it,
yeah.
and things that we do with them, not on the investment side, but on the commercial side, and that's, as
Hmm.
you could imagine, that's very very interesting.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know Amazon doesn't make an investment and go away, right? They they want to try the technology. That's why they're interested. So it's very interesting. It would be very interesting to see how that relationship continues to develop and where that goes. But you guys are also in the process of getting further out into the market. You've taken on this investment, and then you recently did a pilot with Maersk as well. So tell us a little bit about that pilot, and I'm really interested to hear if you can share what the use case they were using the squids for as well.
Great. Yeah, so we just completed the first phase of the pilot,
Mm,
which was a performance test and a functionalities test, and we passed in a very high grade of close to 97%, if I'm not mistaken. And the use case is quite simple: pick and put away of pack of warehouse that is mostly, the items are mostly fashions and shoes related.
mm,
So a lot of um, retailer. These are the main customer,
yeah.
and yeah, the idea is to now to scale the pilot to bigger scale, and basically help them save money, reduce later on reduce some of the stuff. Another important thing that they are very curious about is the storage space. We can help them
Mm,
with increasing the storage area in at least 25%, just because you could fit more aisles or more racking shelves in a given real estate. You don't need to have them in a width of forklift to be able to go
mm,
through. You can set them up in a way more narrow way that basically will allow you to fit more racking shelves in a given space. So that's
mm,
one. But another layer is that your ability to fit way more boxes in a given bin, because us as a human being are quite limited with our ability to fit. Think about it, you have 10 different sizes of box, and you need to, it's kind of a sudoku or kind of a puzzle how you could fit all of them in three
yeah.
dimension. And the robot is, is equipped with different algorithm to be able to fit way more boxes in a given bin, but also
Mm,
retrieve them, find them, and think how much time it will take us as a human being, and how much time it will take for a robot. So storage space is a huge thing that they also care about, especially in a expensive way. So the pilot is taking place in Los Angeles area, and
mm,
you can just imagine how expensive real estate is there, and
yeah.
every square foot that we can help them save, it's very meaningful. So in
Mm,
addition to the workers and the cost per transaction that we are able to reduce, and the overall throughput we can increase the throughput. Another big benefits for the customer is the storage space.
mm. Interesting, interesting. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's very interesting to hear that it has an impact on the storage space too. I think, which is obviously always a concern when it comes to warehousing, especially as you mentioned in certain areas where real estate is so much more expensive. You want to get as much out of that square footage as possible. I'm curious. We talked about bringing these in and having them work around humans and how they work and some of the benefits that they have. But I'm curious from implementation perspective because the robots are climbing all over your racks, your shelves, things like that. I mean, how does the implementation work? I mean, can you
Sure.
utilize the squid with existing racking, existing shelving? Does it work in like a brownfield setting, or do you have to have special shelving? How does that all work on the implementation side?
Yeah, so we could to your question, we could work with any type of racking shelf, but it's not just plug and play. It's not that far, but before we start, we install the rails, and the rails are being installed on any racking shelf. It's basically uh,
Hmm.
mounted on the profile of the racking shelf, and we just fasten it for safety reason with a couple of screws, and we do it both horizontally and vertically, basically on the profile of the racking shelf, to all of the
Okay.
racking shelf. And once we do that, it takes us a couple of days to to furnish the entire warehouse. Then we basically automated your warehouse, and you're good to go, and the robot could reach from any point to any point. By the way, it's not just limited to racking shelf. These rails
Mm,
could be mounted on the ceiling, on the wall, and the robot could. We're talking about how you could save more space. So just think about
oh,
robot
really?
driving on the ceiling, and from
Mm.
just this is really Spider-Man, from one wrecking shelf to the other. Yeah, but yeah, basically it's a quick installation of these rails, and that are really easy to install. And yeah, and then the robot is good to go.
Interesting, interesting. So, I mean, are there any limitations on like the size of the racking or the size of the shelving, or it can pretty much just handle like a standard rack beam and any real width of shelving or anything like that?
No limitation. We work with all the
Mm,
big racking brand, and yeah, and it's very easy to install. It really takes it will it. We taking care of it. It's not something that the warehouse or the customer need to do, and
mm.
it's going really quick.
Interesting, interesting. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's such an interesting and creative way to think about moving these things around the warehouse and how you're going about it. I like when I first saw the video, I was kind of like, what is this all about? It's so different, right? And but when I look at it, and it makes a lot of sense to be able to move in that way, and the fact that it has such flexibility on the directions it can move in. I can only imagine like there's a lot of use cases that it can be applied to, and can really be used in a lot of different ways. And the fact that it's capturing data along the way as it's traveling too, I mean, I think it's such a plus. Like it can do a lot for you, which I think is really interesting. So
Yeah,
I'm
and
curious for
you,
yeah,
you
sure.
you alluded to that. Apologies, but I mean,
Mm,
I do want to double click on that point. The all data harvesting, it's a huge thing for us. I kind of mentioned it before, but I mean, we
mm,
believe looking forward, our added value won't be just by reducing a couple of employees or being able to automate the entire warehouse. It's the all data harvesting, basically providing a lot of insight about how to be more efficient, how to work better, how to retrieve each package faster. I know that warehouse managers these days spending a lot of time just by trying to find these lost packages that they have. But so everything will be
yeah.
automated, not just for the pick and put away, but also exactly your map. You have a great map that is everything is in real time, and that's
Mm,
really smart. And yeah, and I didn't mention it, but it's all the all concept is fleet of robots. It's not We're not talking about one or two robots. We're talking about fleets of, depending on the size, depending on the volume, but fleets of robots
mm,
that are all managed by our real-time server. Uh, this server is basically orchestrate the entire operation of the robot. Um, and it basically could apply multiple rules that the warehouse manager could ask for. It could be anything like in the morning I want you to take care of the peak, and in the afternoon I want you to do the put away. In the night I want you to prepare the day after, or you could do it in between tasks. So a lot of things any rules that the warehouse manager could apply. And this
mm,
our server basically interface with the give with the WMS that they're already working with. So for them, it will be kind of frictionless. They keep on working with the same IT system they are familiar with. And this IT system, the WMS that they are working, could be any WMS, is integrating with our real-time server, and the real-time server is basically orchestrating the entire fleet of robots.
mm. Very interesting. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it makes so much sense, and I love that it's doing all that data in the background too as well, to be able to give you that additional layer of insights and be able to see those things. So as we look for, I mean, Bionic Hive is very much looks like something from the future, but what is the future of
You
Bionic Hive?
know,
What are what do you?
you know who called that the robots of the future?
Oh, I did see that. It was Elon, right? Yeah, yeah. It was very interesting. That was just a coincidence that I said that. I totally forgot about that. But
You maybe want to mention
so
it to your listeners. I'm not sure they know it.
yes, yeah, yeah. So I think it was. I mean, you could say, you could share. I mean, I think it was Elon Musk,
No,
right? That
just
it's all.
you mentioned future and
Yeah,
robot. That reminded me. I didn't plan
yeah.
to mention it, but Elon Musk just tweeted about us. And again, we didn't know
Mm,
him. We didn't ask for it. He just saw the video like you,
yeah.
and he just retweeted. It was before he owned X, and he just
Uh,
tweeted, "This is the future of robots." And obviously, it gave us a lot of attention and
yeah.
focus. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. So I mean, in that regard, what is the future of Bionic Hive? What's coming up for you guys?
So we want to be able to deploy three commercial deployments throughout 2024. I think it's very doable for us. We did mention some of the companies. I think we mentioned two names. The goal is
Mm,
to be with two of them, with those two, and another one. Being able to convert ongoing pilot into commercial deployment, being able to provide value,
mm,
and then to scale. Um, a big thing for us is obviously, like every startup, we're still a startup, small company of 35 people, is
mm,
funding. It's not the best time to raise funds, so
yeah.
we currently raising our next round. And that will allow us to deploy these commercial solution, but also to manufacture a couple of dozens of robots, and make sure they're all operational and running. We focus on the US market only, and we currently focus in three more geographical hubs: south of California, Denver, and the old Tennessee area.
Mm. Interesting, interesting. Oh, Tennessee area. Interesting. Okay.
Memphis.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. So, yeah, very interesting to learn about this from you, Gilly. And I really appreciate you coming on the show and talking to us about this. It's really an exciting solution. It's really just cool to see. Cool to see it move, how it climbed all over the place, and really excited to see what the future has in store for you guys, and how this becomes more wider spread, and how it gets more commercialized as well. So really appreciate you coming on the show. If people want to learn more about Bionic Hive, what's the best way to do that?
First of all, they're all welcome to reach out to me. I'm Gili at BionicHive. They can also go to our website, which is bionichive.com. And yeah, and we would love to talk and learn. I think we're fortunate enough, again, with basically zero marketing budget, to be able to spread the word
Mm,
around. I'm lucky enough to wake up every morning to one or two requests from the biggest company, from the pharmaceutical industry, automotive industry, or e-commerce industry, you name it. basically reach out to us and say, hey, we want to implement your solution. What should we do? So that makes my life easier. But yeah, we still look for the best partner to mature our product, to complete the development, which is already about to be completed. But yeah, we want to try it in real environment, and
Mm.
yeah, I would love to talk with anyone that is interested, and continue our very exciting journey here.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we'll definitely be watching and looking to see what's to come from you guys. And we'll definitely put all that information at thenewarehouse.com as well. So, Giddy, thank you very much for joining me on the show today.
Thank you very much.